this side with Bobby. If you guys can introduce yourself and tell us what you did with the film.
Hello, my name is Bobby Bennet, and I was Michael's stand-in and photo.
My name is Per Welinder. I was one of the skateboard stunt doubles for Michael J. Fox.
My name is Johnny Green. I was Scooter Kid #1.
And my name is Charlie Croughwell, and I was Michael J. Fox's stunt double for all 3 films.
And I was the stunt double for Gilbert Joey Baby. Stunt Baby. So gentlemen, so obviously it's a little bit, we have, this is a little bit of a mix. We have a couple of guys who, or 3 of you guys that played different versions of Michael. And then we have a couple of you guys that did skateboard stunts, and then we have Johnny who was in the skateboard scene. So I kind of want to focus on that, on that scene. You were there, you saw it as an actor. I believe you also have some history. Is it with Per or with Bob that one of them taught you how to skateboard, right? Or am I mistaken?
Oh, no, that was Bob.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Bob. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
So-
that was Bob.
So yeah, the other skateboard stuntman, your parents hired him to come and teach you how to skateboard
Correct.
after the. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and okay, so let's start talking about that scene. Bobby, you come in later because you were in part 3, right? But so I'd love to talk about the skateboard scene. And let's start with Charlie. You were already working on the movie as stuntman, and then Per, you came in as specifically skateboarding, right? So how was that experience? How did they bring you in?
So Bob Schmelzer and I, the other skateboarder, we would skateboard on the Venice Beach boardwalk. That was our way to make money, and we would do our little freestyle session and then pass out a hat and ideally get dollar bills in the hat. And of course, one guy comes by and he drops a business card in the hat, and it said, "Call me," and it was Bob Gale's card. So we called him, and it said, "You need to talk to Walter Scott," who was the stunt coordinator. So we did, and we got the job.
Nice.
And then Charlie, as Michael's stuntman, when you read that in the script that there's all these skateboarding scenes, what did you think? Did you I have to do this, or did you know that they would find somebody that was specifically a skateboarding person?
Well, when I came on, they had just let Eric Stoltz go.
Eric Stoltz?
Eric Stoltz go. You had doubled Eric Stoltz for the skating.
Bob
prior-
did. Bob did.
Bob did.
I doubled for Michael.
Right, so then you did some stuff for Michael, and when they shot that stuff went in the very beginning, and I was on at
Yeah.
that time. I don't have any problem skating either.
Okay.
I grew up skating. My brother and I that's how we used to get around town. So it ended up, I did so as time went on, I think when we finished the courthouse sequence there, and I ran over the car and all of that, then there wasn't that much more skateboarding left. There were some pieces in the tunnel in Griffith Park, which I did, and some of the stuff heading into his neighborhood, but Mike did, a great deal of his own skateboarding as well. I mean, he's an amazing skater. So, combination of all 3 of our work, Mike's, Pear's, and mine, they were able to stitch it all together.
How did you guys work that out? Like, which parts did you do? Which parts did you do in the skateboarding, in the town square skateboarding scene? How did that parse out?
So the first time around, I watched Bob do all the scenes, as Eric Stoltz. So he did all the different scenes, and then they just had to redo it, and I did all those scenes. But in the edit, it's so well done, I can't even tell if it's Bob's shoes or when it's Charlie or when it's me. Like it's really well done.
Yeah.
But it's basically 3 people that were able to help Michael look better on a skateboard. I would argue he needed help.
And then Johnny, tell us a little bit about your experience on the set as a scooter boy, and tell us, your experience being cast, and also then watching the stunt. If you were there watching the stuntmen do their job. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was cast, and I worked with Eric Stoltz at first, and yeah, we had much more time on the set when we were first shooting with Eric. We weren't as rushed,
Yeah.
Second time around. So it was pretty awesome. I mean, skateboarding was it was popular, but it was still kind of
Yeah.
coming out. So I got into it and really spent a lot of time skateboarding with Bob Schmelzer on the side, and yeah, it's pretty powerful, experience. And then when I got the phone call to go back and shoot with Michael, I was on cloud nine. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was a big Michael J. Fox fan.
Yeah.
From the film Family Ties.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a much quicker pace shooting with Michael, and but it was still fantastic.
Was being in the movie and seeing that scene, did it make you want to learn how to skateboard, or you already had that in you before?
No, being exposed to it there made
Yeah.
me want to learn skateboarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was so much skateboarding going on. They had all the different boards there for
Yeah.
the different scenes, and
Okay.
so
So that's
natural fit.
I wanna talk to Bobby and the three of you guys, not Johnny, but the three of you guys have played Michael in some sort of different version, So Bobby, tell us a little bit about your experience doubling or standing in for Michael, and we'll have you guys have a little conversation about that. Yeah.
Well, standing in is basically just standing on a piece of tape with a bunch of lights on you.
Yeah.
And what more can be said? I consider it, I was like Michael's food taster.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, and the importance of everything, that's what I was. It's, have Bobby do it. If he doesn't get run over by a bus, then we'll let Charlie check it out. And if he doesn't get killed by the bus, then we'll let Michael do it. But
Yeah.
basically, it's standing there for the rehearsals, for the lighting, for the camera operators for the focus puller to get all of his marks. So you're just kind of there as, like I said, like a food taster.
Did they ever need you as a photo double, on camera double, or?
Yeah, I did some photo doubling for Michael in
Mhm.
that. The biggest scene was in 2 when Michael at the dinner table was playing all 4
Oh yes,
characters.
yeah. So that was
So-
what Michael, you, Kevin Newton.
Kevin and did you
Kevin
do any
Holloway,
of that,
sorry.
Charlie?
Huh?
Did you do any of that with the
I was
table?
there, but no, Kevin Holloway.
Kevin Holloway.
Yeah, Kevin, right.
Kevin was Michael's photo double.
Photo double, yeah.
So
Very
in that
closely
scene, basically, I would act whatever part Michael wasn't doing.
Yeah.
So if he was the girl, then I was either the father or the son. About the only thing I did there that you can tell is me is when everybody reaches in for the
Yeah.
pizza. You can see this old ass hand. A million years old. And,
I was somebody told me that when you were on set and you weren't needed, you would just dress up as Marlene and you would just hang out.
Well, we weren't supposed to talk about that. I'm not talking about Marlene. That was the way I came to the rehearsal.
I wanna ask you guys your experience with Michael. You all doubled or stuntman, and then you were in the scene with him. Just a little story, anything that you have, and then we'll move on for any questions. But yeah.
What can you say about Michael other than exactly what everybody thinks Michael is exactly what he is?
A monster.
Awful to work with. Just yelling at people all day long. No, he is the nicest gentleman I've ever worked for.
Yeah.
And I do mean that from the heart.
Yeah. Okay.
So they shot the skate scene in the daytime, and Michael J. Fox was shooting Family Ties. So I did not get the chance to meet him as much as I would have liked, but I was very happy when he mentioned my name on the Larry King show when he was interviewed. So that felt really, really good. And of course, what he's done since with the research of bringing in money for Parkinson's is unbelievable, admirable, and just what a guy, what a team he has. It's just a human being that's like one of a kind.
Yeah, very special guy, very energetic and focused about the work when he was on set, but still a lot of fun. Yeah, good times.
Didn't you have a story about that? You went up to talk to him and you thought he had given you the cold shoulder, but was it you that had that story, or was it somebody else? It was somebody else. Sorry, they thought that Michael had been rude, but he was just distracted, and then he came back and apologized. But yeah.
Yeah, no, he was very kind to me.
Okay.
And yeah, you know, did a couple little skateboard tricks while we were waiting
Okay.
to shoot the scene and stuff. And
Yeah.
really nice guy.
And Charlie?
What's your question?
Oh, just a story and experience that with Michael, like that you can share with us.
So, Mike, Mike and I became friends the moment we met, and that friendship has continued to this day. Mike and I kind of think a lot. We move exactly, very similarly. So we would just, it was super, with Mike, everything was really easy. Which made, you know, everything that we did. When you make a movie like this, especially this one, there's a really fine coordination between all of the elements, which is all of the people and all the people that do the parts that they play, whatever part that may be. So no one person, I think, really can take credit for, you know, one particular thing, because it's really it's a culmination of a lot of different, you know, people's involvement. And with Mike was always very gracious. He didn't have an attitude. He doesn't have an attitude. He's as down to earth as they get. He had this just phenomenal success with Family Ties, and then was thrown into this thing. He didn't say no. He said yes. He didn't read the script. He was just ready to go. And he's always had that positive, you know, force, driving forward force to him, to just, you know, it was never, with Mike, he's just super positive. And that goes right to the Parkinson's, dealing with that as well. Mm-hmm. He's never stopped and said, I can't do this. I'm gonna do this, is what he said. I'm gonna make my way through it, whatever that means. You know, he's always super, super confident. And that made our jobs, you know, so much easier, because he was so easy to work with, and understanding and cooperative, and you know, we all got to work together. He wasn't a prima donna. He wasn't the spoiled actor or anything like that. He was just a normal guy that grew up in Burnaby, Canada.
Yeah.
Really.
I'm going to open up the floor to any questions that we have for any of these gentlemen up here. Questions? Right here, Gary.
I have one for Charlie. Charlie, I know you've worked with Michael on more than Back to the Future. Can you speak to a bit about that for anybody that doesn't know, like Casualties of War?
Yeah, any of the other films that
God.
you stunted, yeah.
So
think-
where did you start working with Michael?
I started working with Mike on Back to the Future. So I had been doing stunts in New York. I moved to California. I had heard a guy's name. I should look him up, stunt coordinator. You used to hustle sets. You know, you'd steal the call sheets from the studios. You'd sneak on, hopefully you didn't get thrown off. You would find out where all the stunt coordinators were, and you'd go visit them that day. This one day, it was literally 30 days after I arrived in California. I went to Universal, snuck into that room. There was one call sheet on the table, which normally there would be 10 different shows there, and it was Back to the Future. And I remember looking at that going, oh, that's a stupid name, Back to the Future. What does that mean even? And this guy's name, Max Cleven's name, was on that call sheet. I said, that's a guy. I'm gonna go to the back lot. You know, he's shooting on the back lot. I asked the girl there, you know, where is this? And out on the back lot in Town Square. So I headed out there, and as I was, as I got to the set, I asked the first AD, you know this guy Max Cleven, and Max was the stunt coordinator for that day. So Max Cleven, Walter Scott, Terry Leonard, Dick Butler, a whole bunch of different coordinators would cover the shows. That's how it was done back then. You know, if somebody had to be on some other show, you'd do 5 or 6 shows a day easily. And as I was walking up to Max to introduce myself to him, Michael walked off the stage, and we both walked right up to Max. And Mike asked Max if I was his double, and Max looked at me and looked at Mike and went, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was that.
That's great. And then you worked with him for years then.
I worked with Michael for years and years. I mean, we traveled all over the world working together, you know,
Yeah.
Frighteners, and I mean, I'd have to look at the credits just to see, you know, what shows I've done. We just went from one to the next, to the next, to the next. Every year we had at least one going on, if not 2.
Yeah.
Great times. Every one of them was fantastic. The Hard Way, and Frighteners, and Casualties, everything.
Great.
Yeah.
Question back here?
I did have a question, guys. So, hi. I kind of had a question.
Speak up.
Oh, sorry. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. So I kind of had a question about some of these stunts and the skateboarding as well. Like, is it varying levels of difficulty to get ready, especially when you had to involve Michael? Like you had said, Bobby, you were kind of the taste tester. So for something like where, Michael has to jump off of Biff's casino, right, which is maybe a little simpler than like falling down the hill in part 3 and hitting the fence. Is there a different level of like difficulty in trying to prep Michael to do some of this stuff too? Or like cutting from Michael to do the sequence? I'm sorry if that's not.
No, it makes perfect sense.
Okay.
So, when I was doubling Mike, I thought like Mike, I moved like Mike, I studied all of the little weird intricacies, how he held his fingers, everything else, how he responded to, how he spins around, everything. So that when, you use the fence as an example, when he tumbles down the hill. So Mike runs up the top of the hill, we do a piece on him, then I got on top of the hill and I tumbled down the hill. Bob Z wanted it in one, me to put my head through the fence at the same, all in the entire run, which I did, and then Mike comes in and steps into it. There were many, many times where Mike did his own stunts, but he and I would review exactly what it was. Bob Z would tell us what he wanted, and then Mike and I would discuss it, and then he and I would go through the entire thing, like the hoverboards. We did that quite a bit, putting him up on the board, telling him what not to do, how not to land on the hoverboard, and have a leg on either side. That's not a good idea. But we always worked together and through these things, and he's physically so capable that it was easy. We sometimes I'd have to go, Mike, you can't do that. If you get killed, I don't have a job anymore. So
And Perry, you said that you didn't work with Michael. You were usually shooting once he was done, or did you get a chance to work with him on set?
I did not work with him on the set on the town square. It was just second AD and me doing it, and
Could you maybe
my
talk-
particular part.
Sorry, could you maybe talk about like what was the most difficult scene?
Oh,
or
absolutely.
sequence?
So the absolute simplest part is there's one part where Marty jumps over a bush. That was easy. The only thing that was hard and dangerous was when after the papers fly and you turn around and you see the car coming rushing towards you. So you have to do what's called a 180 slide on the skateboard, and it's very easy that you don't make the slide all the way 180 to be able to grab the hood and then be able to be pushed into the corner of that street. That was the only thing that was where your heart started, like, because even if you're a good skateboarder, you don't know if the driver is going to drive too fast, because he would clip me and I'd be going to the car. So that was the only part that was, in my opinion, like, whew, that was a little scary. So yeah, and those are things like Michael ain't doing none of those, because that's too high. It's way too high risk.
Sure. Thank you.
Did you end up working on any other films after Back to the Future?
I did not. They brought me in for some consulting on the hoverboard, so I worked on a couple hours just explaining a little bit. And hoverboard was obviously something in the future, so there's not a whole lot I contribute. Yeah.
Okay, time for one more question. Somebody, yes, back here, the owner. She popped out of nowhere.
Yeah, I wore my glasses faster. So, to the double. Can you give us an example, still to this day, of how Michael J. Fox moves or walks? Could you walk across the front of the table?
I can. I actually move almost exactly the same way he does. We both have bow legs, although he says I have more bow than his legs. But what it is, it's an attitude. When you try to mimic someone's movement, it's I had to understand in his head, what was going on in his head. The actual movement. If you watch me walk down the street, and Mike walk down the street, we are almost identical. It's kind of weird, actually, that it happened so naturally. I didn't have to try to, be as be that guy. I studied him. I watched everything. I could walk down the aisle here. You could all look at it and go, yeah, well, he kind of looks like Michael. Oh man, he doesn't really look like Michael. I will.
They want you to do it.
So since you're all looking in this
Watch
direction,
out.
I'll walk this way. But one of the key things about Mike is the way Michael holds his hands. If you see his fingers, they're very prominent in almost everything he does. So when he's doing something, he has fragile hands. He has soft hands. But he also, his fingers are spread a lot, most of the time. So when you see him do anything, take notice of that.
Okay.
And that's what I did. I started to copy him. So when you're acting out a particular scene, I watch him act that thing out, and what does he do going into that particular part? Did you all catch Michael J. Fox as well?
Yeah.
So I had people on the hard way, actually. When we did the hard way, we were, I don't know if you're all familiar with that movie, we were climbing on a giant billboard in Times Square, right? And I was climbing all over the thing. Mike was, we brought Mike up there, we fashioned, harnessed him off, and we had him climbing around on it also. But the day after we shot that, the producer came back and said, I don't know what you guys are doing, but I can't tell who's who.
Nice.
So we accomplished our goal.
Yeah.
So I think if you see me walk down the road and you know what Mike looks walking down the road, you'll go, yeah, no, I see it. I get that. But that's what it's about for a double, because you can't see my face. I have to tell the story with my body.
Yeah.
And I have to do everything I can to make you believe. So if Mike goes through something, Mike was very, he's got like his twitch muscles were really fast. He's an amazing athletic actor, or movement actor, in that everything that he does is, I don't know how to explain it. It's like when he's in his mom's room and he's putting on his pants and he's trying to get through that whole thing, and then he goes.
It's all very physical.
It's very physical, but
Very, very animated.
extremely animated.
Yeah.
And there he was rigid. So the way he went
Yeah.
over, he was very rigid. So if I was doing something, I had to do that same thing.
Yeah.
Or get a sense of what he was going to do. Get in his head, see if he's scared, see if he's happy, see if he's like, oh shit, I don't want to be here. And that I had to carry that in my body.
Yeah.
My body language.
Yeah.
So does that help any?
Yeah, of course.
Johnny, we want you to do your Michael J. Fox impersonation. No, just kidding. We're gonna wrap it up, guys, because the store is closing and it turns into a pumpkin after 9:30. No, one more thing, guys. Can you each of you tell your worst Neil Canton story, like the time that he just went off on you? No, I said. No, just kidding. All right, they're all jumping.
Every day just before lunch.
Well, thank you, guys. Thank you so much.